I love figuring out issues. So you come to me with an issue.
Yeah, I can
How
tell.
we can solve that. I'm a problem solver at heart.
Yes.
So I like to dive into what happened and how do we fix it.
Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Atlanta Dulce Hogar, un programa dedicado a real estate, vender, comprar o invertir. And I'm going to talk in English now because I have Dewayne here, my broker. Thank you for coming, man. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I know you're very, very busy with everything you do, which I don't know what it is.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure again. So, to break the ice, I'd like to start with what are 3 things besides plumbing and electricity you need on your home?
That I need?
Yeah,
on
like
home?
you like on your home. I don't know, maybe like a
for
theater.
me personally. What
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want. Okay.
Yes.
So I haven't purchased a home in about 10 years. I've been in my house almost 10 years.
10
but I'll tell you, it
years?
was a year and a half long process of finding this house.
Oh,
And
wow.
I can tell you.
Is it
2
you or your
things,
wife?
Me and my wife. And
Oh.
there are 2 things. One, it had to be a ranch. One
Oh,
level
okay.
living. That was number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, open concept. My wife
Okay.
loves to cook, so if she can be in the kitchen and I'm in the living room watching a game, watching whatever, or doing
Okay.
whatever, we can be separate,
Yeah,
but
but
still
together.
in eye shot and together and be able to talk.
Aisha, huh?
And then a fenced backyard for my dog.
Fence backyard. Wow.
So those are the 3 things.
easy.
Any house I
It's
bought
not that bad
must
though.
have, you know?
It's now that you say ranch, when you refer to a house as a ranch house, does that mean it's just one level?
Yes.
Is there ranch houses that are 2 levels?
That are 2 levels.
They call it
I guess
2-level ranch
could-
house.
yeah.
But if you explain, is it really?
I guess there's what's called a raised ranch,
A
which
raised
typically
ranch.
has a lower level that is partially above the ground.
Okay.
Right? So you'd walk upstairs to go into, and all of your living is on one level.
Okay.
And then you would have basically a basement that's above ground. Or if you had a basement in a ranch house, you'd have multiple
Then yeah.
levels.
Okay.
But no, a ranch is a ranch.
A ranch is the
It's
ranch,
one
right?
level, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So besides, well, you already said it. The open house, it had to be a ranch
concept
because
ranch.
we're not going younger, right? It's
I'm
because
not,
of that.
I'm not getting any younger, and I have.
Are you thinking of moving soon? Or?
No,
because
not a
10
chance.
years, 10 years is a lot for.
10 years is a
This
long
is your forever
time for
home.
the average. Yes.
Ah,
This
nice.
this was purchased as my forever home.
And it was 1.5 years of
It
looking.
was 1.5 years of searching.
And I complain about my clients. I don't want you as a
I'm the
client.
first client, right?
Well, yeah, hey, but you were your own, right?
Yes, I was my
Realtor.
own agent.
Your own
Yes, I
agent.
represented
Okay.
myself
Ah,
and
that's
and
nice. I
everything.
did buy my home being my own agent.
Yes.
And this is the best because you just go on your time, you open doors, like, okay, let's go here, let's go inside. Nice. What do you do as a broker? Like if you had to explain to somebody, what's your job? Mainly somebody that is not from the U.S. Because my niche, the people I work with most, even though we're speaking in English right now, well, you don't know Spanish, but it's like
I have translators around here. You being one of them, you'll translate anything.
Yeah, I will.
So what I do as the broker is I make sure that everything that you as agents do and we as a brokerage do stay in compliance with the Georgia Real Estate Commission.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. What is the Georgia Real Estate Commission? What is that?
What is it?
Yeah.
It's the
Believe me, most people
don't know what it is.
Yeah, they think it's the commission.
Oh no.
Yeah,
they are the
because the
commission
translation is that.
is money.
Is money, commission.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they are a group, consumer advocacy group. More or less.
Okay.
So the Georgia Real Estate Commission is there to protect the consumers from
Being
bad real estate agents, bad brokerages.
Why you
They're
look at
here
me?
to set- because I'm talking to you. They deal with bad brokers.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just the regulators for our industry.
Regulators. Oh
Yeah.
well, it's
There's
a
also
better.
the National Association of Realtors, which takes takes those regulations to a higher level and requires to act.
And then they put some ethics on it, right?
Yes, the National Association of Realtors took it from just the legal aspect to also there's ethics in this world. You know, you want to act ethically.
Ethically, yeah.
Correct.
That's what it really, like I always explain it like that. Like if you don't have to be a realtor when you have a license or when you are a real estate salesperson, which is the name of the license.
Yeah.
You can be a realtor and then you put everything in front of like that ethics code and that you say, okay, I'll manage myself.
By being a realtor, you are holding yourself to a higher standard within the industry.
Okay, all right, but it's
an option though.
It's an option.
Still,
yeah. Besides, ranch, what do you do? So you explain to somebody, you just make sure all these kids around here, all these adults around your brokerage, they do good.
All my kids. I like how you put that. Yes, make sure all of my kids, as well as the company itself, that everything that we do is in
compliance with the rules.
Another thing that I do is answer questions. All day. If you as an agent have a question about how do I write this stipulation or what does this mean in the contract, it's my job.
So basically, when I'm working with you, I'm not alone. It's not just me. It's also him and other brokers that if I have not bumped into that experience, then hey, or maybe
we're just a phone call away for you.
Yeah, or maybe you can tell me like, hey, I'd recommend you go this route.
Yeah.
Because if you go this route, then it's gonna be bumpier, right?
Yes. And it's not you going this route, but it's the customer saying, I want to do this. And then you going, I'm not sure what the consequences of it are or if it's possible. So let me reach out to your broker staff.
Like, for example, the other day I was talking to a potential client. He wants to buy an 8 acres.
8 acres?
8 acres with a house. Okay. And he wants to purchase it through financing, right?
Yep.
With his brother. And then they want to divide. But they don't want to divide and slice the house in half. They want to divide the land.
They want to parcel out the land.
Yeah, like, okay, you have your home.
Yep.
Now I want these other 4 acres, let's say, because it's 8 acres, so 4 and 4. And then, but why would I pay half of the loan if you are staying with your family and I'm the brother? I just want to live or have that possibility to build something in there. How can you advise them? How can we advise them?
It would be sit down with them and just hash out the differences to say, okay, you're getting the house and the land. You're just getting land. What is the land value?
What is
as far as what the ownership interests are in the whole thing? And then when you subdivide it, they will give up their interest.
Sort of like proration? Something like that?
Sort of like proration.
Okay.
Think about it like if you have a whole apple pie sitting here,
right?
This half of the apple pie is full of apples, and this half doesn't have anything. You're like,
this is just pie.
I only have this portion of it. You know what I mean? So this is only 10% of the total pie. Okay. Because you have all the apples.
Can you see that on the appraisal?
On the appraisal, no.
No. You can see like
have to be an agreement
between
the
them
two brothers. Yep.
It has to come together.
And then when you come up with that agreement, like that agreement is outside of our contracts. That is an agreement that would need to be written up by an attorney.
So I would recommend them to go to
Yes, you need to speak to an attorney on how you want to divide up the interest. And then when it's subdivided or when it's
because they wanna do
cut it into two
they want to do half. Half and half, but the one brother is gonna stay with the half with the house on it, and then the other brother is gonna stay with no house on it.
Yep.
So
they need to come to an agreement on what the value of each.
Maybe
is.
he gives them the money completely if it's possible. If not, just monthly reach an agreement.
And all that is drafted by an attorney. That is outside the scope.
Outside
of what we do. understanding that here's the issue and who do I need to speak to. Okay, that's another thing that.
So and a real estate attorney is the one that's gonna let us know, like, okay, let's do this way. Quick claim deed, maybe, right? Divide it. Because there's financing in there. So financing doesn't care what they do.
Nope.
They just want their money, right?
Yep.
Or I take everything, even if you divide it.
Well, see, it's still tricky because the two brothers buy the house.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And they're both on the loan.
Yes.
So the brother who only gets the land is still responsible for the loan. For the loan on the whole property. Yeah. So it's a lot more technical than we can.
Well, hopefully they don't fight.
For the next 3 hours and I get an attorney on the
I don't like you that much though. And I'm sure you don't like me that much either. 3 hours you have things to do. Okay, well that's out of the way. Thank you. Like I really like I need to explain that to them. Yes,
real world situation
right now. Besides that, I really believe you're really smart. How long have you been in real estate?
Over 20 years.
20. Oh, that's part of why.
I've been doing it for a little while. Yes.
Okay. 20. Wow. 20 Only in Georgia?
No, I was originally licensed in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yes,
nice.
2003. January 2003.
Oh, and you got tired of coal and came back here? 2003. Oh, wow. So 21 years.
Yes, so 21 years. Over 20 years. Over 21 now.
Nice.
Yes, so 21 in a couple months.
Wow. Is it different? Is it different? Is there a different?
Completely different.
How?
Mm-hmm.
Like an example.
Simple sample. We close with attorneys here in the state of Georgia.
Over there is title closing.
Up there.
So okay.
Big issue with MLSs and all that stuff going on right now, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Mike will kill us.
So the MLS in Minnesota is owned by the Association of Realtors.
By the association.
So you have to be a realtor in Minnesota
in order to get access to the MLS.
That's how it was. But here in Georgia, you don't have to be a realtor, and you can get FMLS, Georgia MLS, all of them without being a realtor, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I didn't notice that. I mean, I only been licensed in Georgia.
Okay.
I'd like to brag about this. People that know this, I only took the test once. Yes,
good job.
But
I'm smart. You're smart.
Yeah, I mean, you think this big head is for nothing? Okay, but one thing. What is the worst thing things that you don't like about this? About
what things do I not like about this?
About being a broker, about being in real estate. You like everything?
There's nothing I don't like about it.
Wow.
Because I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it.
Huh.
That is 100% me.
Well, that's admirable.
If I'm not into it, if my heart isn't into it,
really,
I will not do it. I would just leave this industry.
That's maybe just
so that's why
successful.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
Oh, and what is it that you like most?
What do I like?
Or about being a broker?
I love figuring out issues.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to me with an issue.
Yeah, I can tell.
How we can solve that. I'm a problem solver.
Yes.
So I like to dive into what happened and how do we fix it and how do we make it better? How do we position it to the advantage of us and that stuff. So,
oh, wow. That's great.
And it truly makes every day different.
And now that you say it to me,
there's so
I can
many
see
little different things that happen in real estate and that can go wrong. And you have a question, but somebody else may have a different question, and that problem solving, I love it.
Oh wow! I can tell. I can like now that you say it, like you speak it out to me. Whenever I come up to you with a problem, which is why I go to you most of the time, is I can tell how you can say that and be like, oh no, let's do this, let's do that, da da da. Did you ever make a mistake?
No, never. Never made a mistake. Never once.
Oh, wow.
No, here's a mistake I made when I was first in it, in Minnesota, right?
Okay.
I was helping someone buy land.
Okay.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I was new in the business. It was like my third or fourth transaction.
Okay.
And it's land, and I didn't know anything about land. Most of that lot was below the floodplain in the area. And so they couldn't put a septic tank in.
Oh.
Oops. I helped somebody buy a land they couldn't build their dream house on.
Oh.
Because they couldn't put a septic tank
Because it wasn't.
Because I didn't know anything about perk tests.
And
all the zoning and the setbacks and where the floodplain.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Huh.
So that was a big oops moment.
Yeah. I've had mine. I won't say though.
You won't say which ones they were. Okay. Well, that was 20 years, 20 plus years ago.
Whenever this podcast goes 20 years, I'll say my I mean, we all make mistakes, but I remember now what was the thing that I was going to do. So one of the things about English is the acronyms. Every time somebody goes out and say an acronym, it's like, okay, what do you mean?
Yes, there are acronyms.
What do you mean now? Because it could be anything, right? So I go to class for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I say, okay, I'm gonna get my license. I'm gonna sell, like Mike says, I'm gonna sell to all my friends.
Everybody I know is gonna buy a house.
I never thought that really, because and I think I'm letting it out just because. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I have little family here, so it's like, and they already own their homes. So it's like, really, I wasn't thinking of my family or friends. Now, one thing, I thought I was gonna be the realtor for Venezuelans, and happened to be, like, I think one of the most nationalities that has more real estate license is Venezuelans. It's amazing. But hey, so. Go to class, and they say, so the MLS. And I go, what? Major League Soccer? I made it. I made it to the, wow. It's like, I love the sport. So it's like, what? MLS? No, what does that mean? Because nobody ever says. Everybody always suppose, what is the acronym? They just throw it out, and then it's like, you're supposed to know.
I'm supposed, yeah.
No.
The multiple listing service. You didn't know that?
Multiple listing service. So what is that exactly? Who has access to that?
Okay. So in our MLS systems, there's a front end and a back end, right?
Okay.
There's a front end consumers-facing side where consumers can actually go and see all of the listings, all of that. That same data, that same information is what gets, it's called syndicated to places like Zillow, Realtor.com, and just all the other Real Scout, all the other.
Trulia, a lot of my potential clients like Trulia. There was a Motovo was another one. Movado. Okay. Yeah. Excuse my English.
No, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. So MovadoHomes.com. There are literally.
That's the front end. Right?
That's all the front end. That's all the. Mm-hmm. Then there's the back end where you as a real estate agent you get to see. There's just more
flood areas.
You're able to pull flood areas. You're able to click and get tax records instantaneously. They're also connected. The properties are connected to all of the contract forms that we fill out. All that sort of stuff.
Oh, contracts.
Yes, contracts.
What is? Who makes those contracts?
Who makes those contracts? You make those contracts.
Yeah, right. I write out 11 pages of the purchase
all 11
and sale.
pages. It took you all month to type that in.
See, it's worth it. It's worth it. See all the work I do.
Those forms are created by the Georgia Association of Realtors.
Okay.
Right. Those forms that, as we call them, GAR, another acronym.
GAR,
for, right?
yeah.
The GAR forms.
GAR forms.
GAR forms, GAR forms. They are tested in the courts. They've been used for so long, and they protect you as the real estate agent, the co-op agent. They also protect the buyer and the seller. And they explain everything out, right?
It's sort of like a win-win situation, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's make this where everybody wins,
as possible.
And then the things that you can negotiate, we're gonna leave it blank so you can fill it in.
So Miguel can enter in the purchase price, diligence,
the commission now.
Commission now soon, very soon.
Very soon, guys. But we're not talking about that.
No, it hasn't. Nothing's changed yet.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So, and I saw the other day, I noticed this now, that it has a copyright.
Yes.
Because they make this, and who is they? The board, like executive,
the Georgia Association of Realtors.
The elite.
Weissman Law.
Okay, Weissman. Oh, I know them. Yeah.
Seth Weissman.
Yeah.
The one his firm wrote. They are legal counsel for the Georgia Association of Realtors, and they created those forms.
Okay.
And then
and that's approved by everybody.
It's approved by the board.
by the board, like
by
a
the
lot
Georgia
of
Real Estate Commission,
people that sit down and say, okay, yeah, let's do this.
President, all the board of directors, all
And
that
they
stuff.
change it every year. They have some.
Not every year.
Not okay.
Every year recently, there have been changes.
I know. Since I'm a realtor, it's been a change. It's like wow. Like I thought really that every year was a change.
Probably from
18, I got the license.
I came to Georgia in 2006.
Okay.
And got licensed here. And from 2006, before the foreclosure crisis of 2008, nothing changed in that time frame. The foreclosure crisis happened, and there were a bunch of changes that were directed at the foreclosure, like because of the foreclosure issue, right? After that, about 2012 to about 2016, there weren't any changes either.
Really?
The form stayed the same. There may have been minor grammatical corrections that they need to say, we need to change this word or change this sentence, but there weren't any major changes.
Because problems come, and then, okay, let's just change this so we don't have this problem again. Okay.
Right? And then...
Because everybody's looking for
the past 4 years, they have changed every year. There has been a fairly major change, and we're expecting a mid-year change this year. So.
Oh, yeah. Mid-year change?
Mid-year.
Oh, wow. I always had, like, I've had a license since 2018. And it has been a change every year. I think 2020 was the only one because everybody was inside. But after that, I thought it was like, okay, every year these people just change this. Okay. We talked about you like everything about this. You don't hate anything. Wow.
Yeah, there's...
Very little.
I don't want to say
well, you just said it.
Dealing with people.
Dealing with.
No, I love it. I love it because I'm dealing.
If you help,
I'm dealing with real estate problems and solving those problems, and that's what I love doing it. So. Nice. So no, I can't think of anything.
We talked about the contracts. Who makes the contracts? Who is in the board? Can anybody try to be on the board? We have a realtor, right, in our brokerage
that was the president of the DeKalb Board of Realtors. Yes, that's a board.
Okay.
You can join the Board of Realtors. You can get involved in it and start doing all that if you want to as well. You join a committee. Most people who are first jumping into the board stuff, they always end up on the recruiting committees, the getting people to join. That's like where everybody seems to start.
Okay, join into being a realtor?
No, join into getting involved in the board and doing all that. And then the board members, they deal with complaints, all that sort of stuff. There's like a whole process that would take us a good hour to go through if you wanted to.
Yeah. Thank you. I want to help my people.
I'll bore you to death.
Yeah, bored.
I can bore you to death. That is for sure. So.
Well, not until now, thank God. It's always really been a pleasure, like going to you and see, hey, I have this problem. How do I do it? Or how do I help my client? Because that's the idea, right? I mean, we're here to help people, to make them get the best out of us so they can get their home. I mean, it's really nice owning a home because you don't have so many rules, so many things. I remember being a renter. Oh my God, you have to deal with so many things that hey, that's what it is because you don't owe that. You're just renting. What has to happen? I mean, whenever you're buying a home, I know it was too long ago. Or whenever somebody that you love deep, like your family, your close family, your brother, sister. I don't really know about much of your personal life. But if you had to help somebody that is like, hey, don't forget to do this. Like you have to have this. I don't know what it is. Maybe like commission. Maybe this. Maybe that. Like whatever it is, you have to have.
If you're buying a home.
If you're buying a home, like hey,
always
pay attention to this.
Always. Get an inspection.
Okay.
I don't care if you're a handyman and all of that. You see things that are wrong with the house based on your vision.
Yes.
If you have an outside person looking at it, they're looking at it objectively.
So
always get an independent inspection, a separate inspection. Even if you go into the house and you're like, oh, this house, there's a leak under this sink. Yes, the inspector is going to point out the leak under the sink that's going to need to be fixed. Yes. And this is wrong, and this is wrong, and all these things.
Because the inspector goes everywhere.
Yep. The inspectors, they're gonna think of things that you may not think of.
Exactly.
And even if you're in that business of remodeling homes or you're a handy, you may not think of something, and that is their job, is to find what's wrong with this house.
Anything else?
We used to call inspectors back when I first started deal killers.
Oh.
Because they come in, here's this list of
for me,
5,000 things wrong with this house, and you're like, that's wrong-ish.
Well, but it's true.
It could be of concern to somebody.
I use the inspection report as a weapon of negotiation. I use it. As well. Like, I'd be like, okay, then you have all this wrong. Let's just try to see if the person can give you some money for it towards the transaction.
To that point, that is exactly what you want to do. Yeah. In the case of an inspection report. Yeah. Right. So, the dishwasher isn't working. Okay. Right. That comes up on the inspection report, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, let's have the seller fix that." Yeah. Well, the seller and buyer are at odds with it, right? So the seller wants to fix that absolutely as cheaply as they can.
Yeah, of course.
Where the buyer wants it done absolutely perfectly. Yes. And that's a conflict. Yes. And so it's always best to come to what is a monetary value that the buyer and seller can agree to fix the dishwasher. Okay. And then just take the money, buyer. And when you take that money, so you have a 3% down payment, right? Yeah. When you take that money, that's $1,000 less than what you'd have to bring to closing.
Closing costs too.
Yes. Yeah. You do it as a contribution to closing costs. Yeah. And then that's less money that you have to bring to closing for your closing costs. So it's more money you have in your pocket.
Exactly, that is what I tell to my clients. I always say, hey, you're gonna do it the best way you can. Mm-hmm. So let's just let them give you money, right? No, but I want to fix that. You fix it later with somebody that you trust that is gonna do a good job for you, because the seller is really trying to just
minimize their
fix it until they fix it until they.
I have seen this. This is a real life one that just baffles me every time. Oh wow! The seller, there was peeling paint on a fireplace on the outside.
Okay, on the siding.
On the siding.
Okay,
there was peeling paint on it. Buyer said, seller, the special stipulation or amendment said, seller to have the fireplace or the siding painted at the fireplace. Okay. Something like that, right? I think the seller used interior paint on the exterior, and it was fine through closing. Yeah. But it rained heavy about a week after closing, and you could see the paint running down the side. It was good at closing.
It was good. It looked good.
And now we got a problem, right? And when that happens,
we're not calling Houston.
No, we are not calling Houston. Wow. You need to call an attorney. That's what you need to do. And that's because it's post-closing. Closing is final.
Yeah. I was telling to a client of mine, like, hey, it's fine if they do it after closing. We just need to write an amendment that says that problem
shall survive
closing. Yep, and I learned that with you. So I was like, hey, we need to put the survive closing. Because if not, then he's off the hook. Yep. And one thing, why not everybody does this, but one time I've had quite a few closings, and only one time I remember where the attorney was like, hey, taxes hasn't come out yet, property taxes hasn't come out yet, so whenever they come, if they come higher than what we prorated, you are, as a seller, you are responsible for the difference.
Yes.
How is that?
How is that?
Why don't they do everything like that? Why just one? What do I have to do to protect my sellers so every time they have that? Make sure the attorney knows, like, hey, make sure you put this clause in the.
That language is always in the closing documents.
Oh, really?
If there is a proration that is wrong based off of information that the attorney doesn't have, all parties will agree to make it right. And that's in all the paperwork that you sign. And they have no control over it. You have no control over it, the buyer and seller. but it's the owner of the property's obligation.
What if it's less? Do they call me the seller, or
they should? The
say,
buyer,
hey, here's your money.
The buyer should have to bring money, and the seller should get money back. And there's only a very small window where that happens, where that's an opportunity.
Don't care.
And it's coming up here in
I don't care if it's a combo, a drive-through combo.
Yep.
Hey, it's one less drive-through combo I have to buy. So, all right, man. I mean, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No,
I'm glad
man,
to talk to you. Glad to talk to all your people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you gonna get it translated all at the bottom?
I might translate some
key
points or reels and stuff like that. But yes, thank you so much, Dewayne. It was a pleasure. Appreciate your knowledge, and I really appreciate you being one of my brokers.
All right.
Really.
All right, help when I can.
All right. Thank you so much. Esto fue todo por hoy. Gracias por estar ahí. Ya saben, suscríbanse, denle like, todo lo que puedan, comenten. Y esto fue Atlanta Dulce Hogar, un podcast dedicado a real estate. Vender, comprar e invertir. Gracias.